Welcome to our webinar today, the ins and outs of NBC Learn. We are really excited to get to share NBC Learn with you. Hopefully we've got some people on who are familiar with it, and maybe we even have some people who are new to NBC Learn. So whether you are experienced or not, welcome. We know that you will learn at least one thing to take back to your school with you today. But just to get started, some housekeeping things. If you are hearing my voice, that means you did get connected to the audio, and hopefully you are also seeing the screen. I do record the webinars, and as long as my technology does not fail me, I am recording this one, and we'll have that posted on our YouTube channel hopefully by early next week, maybe late this week, but I make no promises of that. I would say early next week for your viewing pleasure, whether you are getting to see it or not. We may have people who have missed it who want to catch it, so we will be sharing that later. I have everybody muted who has joined the meeting. Please keep your line muted so that only the presenter is talking. That way we won't have any background noise. If you've not already opened your chat window, please do that. I believe on the way that the screen is set up now, there should be a chat button up in the top right corner of your screen. Just click on that, and that will open the chat window. Use that window to ask questions, make comments, share ideas. Please, this isn't just a one-way receiving of information. We'd really like there to be some discussion throughout the webinar, so use that box. When you do make a chat in that chat window, please make sure that you select to send to everyone. Choose everyone from that drop-down box. Right now it defaults to me, and I will be turning the presentation over to Cindy Harrison from NBC Learn in just a little bit, and you will need to do this over again. Open up your chat box and again, choose to send to everyone so that we can all see your comments. And throughout the webinar, again, please ask questions, and if Cindy doesn't answer your question right away, we will get to it. I will be taking notes of questions that she doesn't have a chance to answer or whatever. We'll get to those at the end. We should have some time for questions and answers at the end of our hour. So I think that is all. So let's go ahead and move into just some, I just want to quickly share with you guys some other professional development opportunities that we have going on right now or upcoming. Our e-learning book club, that is an ongoing project that we have. We typically do 3 book clubs throughout the year. Right now is our fall book club, and we are reading Ditch That Textbook by an Indiana educator named Matt Miller. We are just about 3 weeks into that discussion, so there's still definitely time to jump in. We award PGP points for that, so if you are looking for either just some ongoing professional development or ways to earn PGP points, or hopefully both, we can help you with that. So you can get more information on that from our website, and I'll share a direct link to that blog here in just a few minutes. We have our next webinar in the e-learning lab will be in 2 weeks. That will be an hour with 2 techie teachers on October 6th at the same time. And that is Brittany Bannister and Tiffany Koppel from Scott County School District 2, and they will be sharing with us just different ways to integrate technology into your classroom. So we're looking forward to that time with them. And then Twitter. We hope that all of you are connected on Twitter, and if you are, hopefully you're using the hashtag #INELearn so that other Indiana educators can see your tweets and connect with you. We also have INELearn Twitter chats every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. This week's topic is how to successfully and meaningfully integrate digital citizenship lessons. So we are looking forward to that. That will be this Thursday night. And now we will move on to our webinar, or the meat of our presentation. We are excited to have with us Cindy Harrison from NBC Learn, and she is a trainer with NBC Learn. We have had her on doing webinars with us in the past. She's been at many Summer of E-Learning conferences, so many of you, hopefully some of you have seen her in person during the summer at those conferences, but if you haven't had the pleasure of hearing her speak, you will get to do that today. We also have Katie Hutchinson, who's an e-learning coach from Greater Clark County Schools, and she's going to be sharing with us a little bit on the collaboration, how teachers in Katie's school are using NBC Learn in their classrooms. So we're excited to have both of them with us today, and I am going to turn things over to Cindy.
Great. Thank you, Mary. I'm really excited to be a part of Indiana e-learning, the webinars that you said, and I, of course, love being at all the different conferences these last several summers. So that's been really good for me. I've really enjoyed doing that. So I hope everyone sees my screen. I am also joined by one of my colleagues at NBC Learn, Jane Rowe, who will be monitoring the chat window for any questions. And as you said, I am going to try to leave time at the end. If there's any questions, I want to make sure we answer them for everyone, because that is our whole purpose, is to, build on this wonderful relationship that we have and show how we can offer, our resources and help you as educators. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I have a quick PowerPoint, and then we will transition into the live site. And then again, after that, come back to a little more of the PowerPoint and then move on to Katie. I have our live page that we're working on in collaboration. So I'll get started here. So the ins and outs of NBC Learn, and as Mary said earlier, in case there are some of you that are already familiar with it, hopefully I can address and give you some new information that we have had some updates throughout the year, what's going to be coming up in the next year, and so let's get started. So briefly, for those of you new to NBC Learn, we are the educational arm of NBC News, and our resources are short, they're engaging, they're relevant, and most of them are between 1 and 6 minutes in length. Now, we do have some that are actually a little shorter, and we do have some that are a little longer, but for the most part, they are in that 1 to 6 minute range, which makes it wonderful to utilize in your class, either as an introduction, as something to support what you're saying, or at the end. So we have that flexibility, and that's, like I said, a very versatile resource in using it. We also have, we do meet the Section 508 standards for accessibility, and I will show you that once we get to our site. Right now, we have over 18,000 resources available that are aligned to the 40 subjects, plus Indiana state standards. And we gather our resources from our family of properties, so it could be from Nightly News, The Today Show, Meet the Press, etc. Right now, we have we have 3 types of resources. Really, we call it our archival content, which we access. We have access to over 6 million hours of archival material from NBC News Archives, as well as Universal Movie Reels. We add current events every single day, Monday through Friday, and we also have original content that we have developed with various partners, as you can see here, including National Science Foundation. We also do partner integration. Now, I know that with My Big Campus phasing out with NBC, with Indiana and everywhere, we do offer these various plugins with the other various learning management systems, as well as the library discovery services. So if you're utilizing any of these, let us know. I'm going to have emails at the end of the session. You can email my colleague, like I said, she's on the phone on this call, Jane Rowe, and then we can get you set up, which we have been doing throughout the summer when I've been at various conferences, getting the various districts set up with their new LMS. Some new features that we have that we've added so far this year is a new platform refresh. We have a self-service toolkit, which I will point out when we get to the site. We've already done a wonderful seamless embedding with Moodle we've added Spanish closed captioning in our current events since January 1. We also have offered some closed captioning options. We have reconfigured our U.S. history collection. We've added, over the summer, we added Mysteries of the Brain collection, as well as NBC Learn Pearson science videos. And actually coming next week, it could really have been on this next slide, but I want to talk about, we have natural hazards collection. And then some new things to look forward to during this upcoming year here is an advanced search filter where you can search by anchor or creator of the story. We are looking at also putting some advanced playlist features together, as well as note sharing, some integrations with EasyBib and EduCanon, and then we're also, our producers are working on the nanotechnology collection. We have a sister site, which is great, and I like to let teachers know about this, and I didn't even preface my introduction is I am a former U.S. history teacher, and that I utilize NBC Learn in my own classroom on a daily basis. And when I found this, looked at the parent toolkit, it was wonderful. It was something I would love to have shared with my parents, my students, so they could have some information. We also, and they can stay current here on with our parent toolkit. So let's go ahead and get started here. I see that someone actually grabbed the globe and took it there, so I am going to take it back and share my screen again. So I am back. I hope everyone sees my screen where it says NBC Learn in Indiana. And this is to access our standalone site. So I know I mentioned how we are integrated into the various learning management systems, and that would be a little bit different. But let's go ahead and go to indiana.nbclearn.com if you are following along with your computer. And I'm going to, like I said, I'll just transition briefly to this site to move it up here. So you can see that I am at indiana.nbclearn.com, and I'm going to click here to access. All right, you will know that that you're in the correct place because we have it where it says Welcome Indiana Department of Education in the upper right-hand side of the screen. So what you can do here is you then have the ability to access all 18,000 plus resources. We wanted to make it easy for students to gain access to all of the different resources as well as parents. But however, as educators, I strongly recommend you go to the upper right-hand side with the Register Now tab located in the upper right-hand corner and register. It is by school district, so you can look, it's alphabetical by school district, and then the schools individually are listed under each school district if you want to go ahead and register. And while you do that, I am going to sign in because by having your own account, you have increased functionality, and like I said, as an educator, I strongly recommend you having your own account. But again, and students and parents can have their own account as well, but it's probably more conducive for them just to go ahead. They can just come in here without registering further to get the resources they need. But again, that increased functionality that it helps you organize resources by playlist. So I will be explaining that during the course of this session. Can't talk today. All right, so you can see that I am on our home page where we have a large image in the middle. It just changes. It's what we call our carousel. You can see you can follow us on the various social media, and I know y'all are great with social media there in Indiana. I always try to take part in the Twitter chats as well that Mary was mentioning. Just very informative to be a part of those. But I'm going to have you scroll down to the bottom here, and this is where we have what we call our NBC Learn in the Classroom, and this is where various subscribers share exactly how they use NBC Learn in their own classroom. So we have our history teacher here, how he goes But what's wonderful about the resources is that even though if you're not a history teacher, if you're teaching English or science or math, but how these teachers are utilizing NBC Learn makes it nice because, you know, teachers, we're great at finding great ideas and then adapting it to our own way of teaching. But I also want you to know that you can click on See More, and then you gain access to additional ideas. From elementary, we have it all grade levels covered and many, many content areas covered throughout these collections. You can see you can continue on. We actually have 2 Indiana subscriber spotlights on, we have a middle school, intermediate school science teacher down in Evansville, and also a high school teacher, John Carl, down in Evansville, how they use NBC Learn in their own classroom. But here's one example here. She is a 7th grade language arts teacher, and how she uses NBC Learn not just with current events, but she also has it to develop context around the stories her students are going to read. And then she offers playlists. So y'all are talking about digital citizenship and information. We have different resources here under her school violence and bullying, but language arts. So that would be appropriate not just for 7th grade language arts that she teaches, but also any levels. And just some of her personal favorites definitely are cross content specific. They're not content specific. They go. So you can see here what we have. I'm going to go ahead and have you scroll back to the top of the page, and then our collections along the left-hand side. I'm going to start with current events. As I mentioned, we have archival resources as well as current events, and we update it every day, Monday through Friday. We keep it in a file-type format, and we go all the way back to 2008 when we started bringing in our resources to NBC Learn, so you know you have that reliability, knowing your resource is going to be here when you need it within NBC Learn. So it's placed not only in current events, but they're also placed where they're relevant. Our current year we have listed out by month, and I'm going to go ahead and click on September here. And so we're starting our 3rd week. You might go, okay, well, where's September 1st through 5th? We actually start our weeks on Sunday, and so then those first few days of September would be, listed in August. So we didn't skip over them. But we have on our current week resources that have been placed here so far, and we can let's go ahead and I'm going to click on one. And what you can see here, what comes up is what we call our cue card, and you can see that it is independent from the page. And so you can move it around. We can add, once it loads, we can add closed captioning. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. All right, so you can see we can add the closed captioning, as this was one of the new things that we have added so far in 2015. So we want to add closed captioning, which we've always had, but being able to increase the size or add a background to it or change the color, this is a new thing that we have added, as I said, this year. What I'm going to have you do now is look at the upper right-hand corner, and we have a backward-facing arrow, and this is what we call our flip button, because we're going to be able to click on this, and then it's going to turn the cue card over so you see the back where we have all of our metadata and bibliographic information, so you can see that this source for this particular resource is the NBC Nightly News, who the creator was, all of the copyright information. We do go through a vetting process and get everything copyright for you to use as subscribers. We have the clip length, and again, this 2 minutes and 36 seconds is within that 1 to 6 minute range I was mentioning earlier. We have a brief description. So, 2 minutes and 36 seconds is not long, but if you're looking for multiple resources, this helps make it go a little quicker. And we have a keyword collection here that is hyperlinked. So if you want to click on communism, if you are a social studies teacher and want to focus on that and get some additional resources for yourself to share, you can do that. Or this is also a great place for students to embark on their research So using the keywords, again, that are all hyperlinked to the other resources within our 18,000 that would come up with that same keyword. Now, speaking of research, we do have a citation generator for the MLA, APA, or Chicago Manual of Style, and where students can click copy and then paste it to have that available. I'm going to go ahead and flip it back around so we see the front of it. And then now draw your attention to the tabs located at the bottom. And this is where it will differ. So if you are following along and you did not have an opportunity to register for your own account, these first two tabs will be grayed out, the Save and Notes. This is where that increased functionality happens by having your own account. So if I click on Save, you're going to see that I have an opportunity to add it to a current playlist that I have already made, or I can click on New here and add it, add something new. So I'm going to call it Indiana, ins and outs of NBC Learn. And to go ahead, I can click Save. And you can see that it will turn green, and then the drawer closes automatically. And that way you know you have saved it. And once you have saved a resource, you can then click on the Notes tab and be able to add your own information here. So you can add that and have that available to you. And what's really nice is that, you know, each year you're using this. So I was using NBC Learn for the last 3 years that I taught. And so each year when I got back to this subject, it was so nice to be able to open my notes and have these questions that I want to use. So you have them all there ready to go. So again, I'm going to click on Save. Again, it turns green, and the drawer closes automatically. Now, everything about NBC Learn was built to be collaborative in nature, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Share. So maybe if you're using Edmodo or you want to tweet it out, you can do so. Or what's really popular is to copy this URL located at the bottom and add it to your lesson already. So you're not reinventing anything. You're not making anything new. You're enhancing what you have already spent hours creating for your lesson, so you have that. So you can add this to a PowerPoint where then if you click on this link, it would open within NBC Learn. You can do it that way. We also have the ability to print. So if students want a written copy of notes or if they need it due to their IEP, we have a two-dimensional version of the cue card where you see an image from the video. You have the citation, all the citation formats, as well as the full transcript. And you do here have it right here. Any notes that you have added to it would be available also to be printed. All right. We also then have, to be able to download it, you can click Download. Now, you do have to have the administrative rights to the computer that you're using, but this will actually bring up our NBC Learn offline player that you can be able to watch the video offline, and you can see that it's going in there now. While that's doing that, I can show some of the features of our offline player. So one, be in the library. So these are all of the different resources that I have already added to my download player. So we can see it comes directly, and it'll be playing directly from your computer. And this is nice that if you want to click on Embed and copy the embed code to put it, for instance, in a PowerPoint, and that way the video would be playing directly from your computer and not worrying about any kind of bandwidth issues. It would be playing directly from your computer. We also have the ability to then import and export. So if you're working on it at home on a home computer or on a laptop, you can click on Export, put it on a flash drive. When you get to school, get on Import, and then bring it in. So it is transportable. You can do that with it. So this is a very nice feature that we have. All right, we also have a standards feature. As I said, we are aligned to the Indiana standards, but since this resource just aired yesterday, we have, or just this week, we do send our resources out to a service, and then they correlate them to the various state standards, and so it does take several weeks. So I will show you another one during the course of this session so you can see how the standards are presented. I'm going to go ahead and close this. So that's briefly, how to look at the cue card and all the different functionality that it has. And I'm going to go back out here to all collections. And I know that I have a variety of people out there listening where we can put this. So I'm just going to go into a few sections. I don't have time to go into all of them. My thing is we have 18,000 resources, and I know I've seen at least 14,000, and I have been known to talk about each collection for hours on end. So I will keep it short, I promise. So we have that health and wellness. And I like to show this even if there's no one out there in health. And as Mary said, I've been to Indiana a few times, these last few summers actually, and we found some great things under physical health. For science teachers, if you're an elementary science teacher, the growth and development and body image resources fit, according to everyone that has been in the sessions, fit just perfectly with what you are teaching. So if you're an elementary science teacher out there, make sure you come back through here. We also had I'll click back in a mental health, talking about this. That we have. I love our resources under building self-esteem. We also have it with resolving conflict. And I know that next week's, Twitter chat is on digital citizenship. This is actually one of my favorite resources here is Teen Uses Twitter to Compliment Peers. And if you've been able to see George Peros at any of the summer of e-learning conferences, he actually talks about this teenager, how he uses it to compliment peers. So it was kind of fun to tweet it out while George was talking that we had this resource and he came to a session. So that was a lot of fun last summer that we had that. So I do like to point out, some of these resources within mental health, you can see we can do regulating health as well. I'm going to go ahead and back out so I can cover as many collections as possible. We have some wonderful resources that go through an additional vetting process to make it safe for the K-5 audience. So this is a nice go-to collection. If you're an elementary teacher, all of these resources are placed in our other larger collections. But for something that you need to find very quickly, this is a great place to come to. Like you go into communities, and one of my absolute favorite videos, I show it in Indiana, of course, but I also show it in other trainings because it's such a fun video. I just wanted to open up real quick because it is about Indiana first graders in Terre Haute, actually. I want to go ahead and pause it when it starts here. Go ahead and pause. And then have the standards right here. So if you click the standards, as I was mentioning, you can see mine, it comes up for New York, but yours would come up as Indiana. So let me go ahead and click on Indiana. That you can just to see how these resources are available. So if you're a kindergarten teacher and want to show that resource, you can see right here. And you would have the ability then to see which standards that it's aligned to by grade level, so you can scroll throughout the collection and see which standards that you're meeting with this video. So I just wanted to show that briefly. And we do have an additional activity tab. Now these are not on most of our videos. We do have it here on the community collection, and we do have it on some of the math videos, but those are minimal so don't expect it on every single one that we have. So that was an answer to a question that people were wanting some additional resources, and so we're testing it out in these little areas throughout the collection. So I'm going to go ahead and back out of K-5. You can come back through here if you're elementary. But I want to continue on through. I'm going to go into language arts briefly here, where you can have a deeper dive in writing mechanics. And go through there, get writing styles, or go deeper into basic writing. One of my favorite places is grammar, where you can see our common errors in English usage. And these are about a minute in length, kind of explaining in a humorous way how to correct those errors that are commonly made. So we have that. The other popular area within our language arts collection is our Writers Speak. This is a compilation of various interviews. Mostly it's from the Today Show, but we do have others as well. And so you can see here that we have 98 different videos, and these are going to be more in line with the middle school and high school students, except we do have this New York children's book here. But in response to having all of these wonderful resources is that, elementary teachers go, well, we would love to, be able to do that. But NBC Learn brought in popular children's authors and illustrators, and this is one of our original collections where we have our Writers Speak to Kids, how they give ideas and how they generate their ideas and their whole writing process and how they go about illustrating as well. So just some wonderful resources to share. And again, we've kept it in that 1 to 6 minutes, and most of them are about 4 minutes in length that you have that you can share with students if you're an elementary teacher. We also have, topic ideas, images, text that make great bell ringers, activities or end of the class activities that you can go through there. Our math and statistics collection, my favorite part about this particular collection is the ability to share with your students the relevancy of what they're learning in class and how it relates to that real world. You can go into here with data collection and how you're using it, showing the difference between, a tablespoon and a milliliter. You have that and how important it is, especially when it comes to medicine. So we have that. One of my favorites is in geometry, being able to share, and this again gets into some of our original collections, is our science of NHL hockey. You can show, all of the different geometric shapes that are located on a hockey rink, and we actually have more than you would even think. You have that. Our science of the NFL Pythagorean theorem is one of our most popular resources. So, again, ways you can share and engage with your students math concepts. Going back out here, going into science very quickly. Clicking on science, you can see you can go into any of our collections in a deeper way. I'm just going to grab astronomy and space. So you can see here, and what's nice about this is that in any area, you can actually copy the URL to have a full collection. So if you want to take this hyperlink and put it on your website for students to stay within a particular collection or sub-collection, they can do so. You can also change how you see it. So you can go from a thumbnail view to list view, and that way you see the description, and if you scroll to the right-hand side of the page, you can actually click Expanded and then see the full description. So if you're looking for resources, this is a nice, helpful way that you can do so to expedite the process of seeing, instead of opening each individual cue card and turning on the back to see the description. So we have it that way. Now we can also go ascending. So if you want to look at our older pieces, so in this case you'll get our older rockets from the 50s, we have that. But we also have where you can go and convert it to event date. And so now you're going to grab any anniversary piece, and this is important because we're actually going to be talking about this a little bit later when Katie Hutchinson gets on and what we're doing together for that. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to our default view, and we keep it the air published and descending, so that way each time you open up your collection that you normally go back to, you will always see the most current resources listed for you. So we're going to back out of science, go into social studies very quickly here. You can see we have wonderful collections. Our economics collection is very popular. You know, to be able to show that relevancy and help students understand some of those difficult concepts that, you know, that are in economics or our government and politics. So going in, I love our Living Constitution, where producers have put together resources to support the various articles and then even sections of our Constitution. Again, showing that relevance of what they're learning in class to the world at hand. So we have that. I'm going to go ahead and go back to all collections, briefly go into our original NBC Learn collections. Now, I did show some of these collections as I was going through. You can see, so if you go, oh, I remember something about hockey, I couldn't remember where it was, you can actually come to Science of NHL Hockey and then find that resource. So here's the hockey geometry that you also saw in the math collection. But you can see we have some some scientific resources in here as well. We could go into the NFL football collection where the Pythagorean theorem is. Again, physics resources as well as nutrition and hydration and health. So can come through here. I'm going to click briefly here to Mysteries of the Brain. As I said, this is one of our newest collections. It was added this past June. So I did talk about it in the various conferences where I was this summer. The other newest collection that we do have is our NBC Learn Pearson videos, where we've worked with Pearson to get some additional resources, video resources, to support these specific concepts in science. But this was added to one we've already have put together for social studies. Again, these are very popular to be used in the classroom. So we have that all available for you to use. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the home page. And that is just one way to look for resources. The other way is to actually go specifically by state standard. So I showed it to you that you could see which standards are applicable to you as you were browsing the collection. But let me go briefly here to Indiana, go subjects, and you can see that we do have the media technology standards as well. I'm going to go to social studies, and I'm going to pick 11th grade because that's what I taught. We have that. And you can see that all of the standards come up, and then along the right-hand side, we have this green circle that would be able to, you can click on it, and that will bring up resources that we have aligned to that particular collection. So I'm going to go ahead and click on American Factory Gets a Second Chance, and that resource will come up. And I'm doing this because actually I had a chance to meet this woman that's highlighted in this story. I actually grabbed her and said, "You're an NBC Learn resource," and she thought I was strange. But I got my picture taken with her, so it was kind of fun. So anyway, she's 80 years old. She's been working at this company for 60 years. So we have that resource here. So you can come up that is aligned to that particular. I'm going to bring that back over. So this was the American Factory Get Second Chance. So you can see the resource here, and then the video would pop up for you. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. So you can look through, browse the collections. You can look by state standard. And then the third way is to use our search window. And I'm going to go ahead and go with Civil War, and keeping my social studies theme. So we can click on that. And you can see that there's 461. So I want to narrow that down, and I can do so along the left-hand side. I can narrow it down either by date, if I would just want to put the decade of our Civil War. I could filter either by collection, by source. But what I'm going to do is actually filter by type and unchecked video. Now, I know y'all are talking about the different documents that we have. We actually have over 200 documents from the Gilder Lehrman Institute of American History. But we have some here, obviously, that are aligned specifically to the Civil War. So we have 40 documents in here from President Lincoln's second inaugural address. We have images, diary entries, so all utilizing primary sources. You can look specifically and then bring it in to really hone in on that handwriting. We have that available for you. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. So those are the 3 ways: browsing, going through state standards, as well as the search to find a resource that you want. And so I'm going to go back quickly to playlists. And you can go in here and find your resource. Now, I have unlimited, you can have unlimited amount of resources, so I am totally testing that. I have probably well over 100 playlists here. I had mine, you know, from when I taught. You can see actually Vietnam, Kent State, that is one that I had specifically for me when I was teaching U.S. history. But you can go, we can go along here, and you can see the various playlists that I have made the last several years with NBC Learn. So we have that. And like I said, it does take a minute to share those playlists. But what's really, really nice about the playlist is that you can share. You can put the hyperlink. I'm just going to grab this top one here instead of going all the way to the bottom to get the one I just made. Is you can see that we have 14 resources here. You can copy the URL for a playlist. Again, I would do this and put it up on my website so my students could have additional resources, you know, for enrichment activities, maybe want to see something I had already shown in class, they want to see it again, that they have that. But what's nice is you can share with a partner or your team. If you are working in a team, you can share. You can send it, since everyone in the state of Indiana has this, you can share it with a friend that's teaching that same subject across the state, that you have that available. The other thing is once you share the resource, share it, you can actually then take that link and keep it as your own. So we can go with that. So that is briefly our playlist feature. And I want to actually transition now, go back very quickly to the presentation, and then I'm going to let Katie actually speak about what we're doing in Greater Clark. So again, examples how you can use it to engage, you can use it to support and even conclude your resources. I've also added, these are the 2 subscriber spotlight, so like a 5th and 6th grade science teacher, as well as our U.S. history teacher down in Evansville, how they are specifically using NBC Learn in their own room. And we really, really like working with the districts out there in Indiana so we can customize to meet the needs specifically. We have done content alignment for pacing guides and units and even individual lessons. We provide training materials. We can integrate NBC Learn within your LMS. And so now I'm actually going to turn this over a little bit and let Katie talk about the social media project, and I'm going to bring it up on my screen.
Excellent. Hi, Cindy. How are you?
I am well.
Excellent. Awesome. First of all, let me tell everyone that you cannot have Cindy. She's mine. Ever since we have gotten together, it's just been like, she's just, and I would say that I had a lot of questions, but this is, I think, the 3rd or 4th webinar that I've watched, and I just keep learning more and more and more, and I don't get to use it as much because I'm out of the classroom, but we wanted to share this kind of burst. We have impact classes, grades, well, all of our grades, but this project specifically is for grades 6 through 12. So with everyone in the schools are going to be doing it. They'll be doing it a little differently. But basically, we have the ISTE standards because we are a one-to-one district with Chromebooks, and we wanted to use, and we thought of this social media project because we want kids to see how social media shapes events. It's not just, oh, be careful what you post because it could ruin your life, which that article's in there too, but it's more about, you know, the events of Ferguson. You know, how are they shaped by social media? What if we hadn't had social media? How would that have looked differently? And then going back in time to say, okay, what if we had social media at the time? So you can see it's in the standards, and then we have those bold retell, discuss, explain, analyze, and rewrite, and create. So basically, they're going to retell any moment from history, and by history, we mean before social media. So Twitter was what, 2002, Facebook 2004, I think. So they have to go back before that, and really the further back, the better, but we're not going to pigeonhole them anyway. Then the classes are going to discuss and explain how social media has shaped the outcome and aftermath of those events, of the most current events since then. And then they're going to analyze an event in history, and we actually want the students to rewrite it reflecting the change that may have happened if there had been influence of social media. And so with the end product there, and actually I'm going to post, I just posted in the chat a link to this. This is viewable to anyone who wants to view it. Please feel free to take it, file, make a copy. If you make money off of it, though, I'm going to want some of it. But feel free to use it and change it any way you want. This is free rights, whatever that's called, common sense media. So we want them to either do a news broadcast or a news article, a blog, or a fake book, anything that's going to show how Martin Luther King's speech, his assassination, would have had happened. And so what Cindy's done is she's gone through here, and we have some preliminary resources there. And some resources for discussion, today's meet, things like that. But here, all these hyperlinks are what Cindy put in. And we talked about sub-collection. So 9/11 happened in 2001 before Twitter, before Vine, before Instagram, before Snapchat, before, what's the new one, Periscope. So imagine what that had been like. So the first thing that the students are going to go do is retell it as if there had been, so they can use, these to kind of get familiar with it. But then they're going to say, how would our country responded differently had people been sending live vines from inside those buildings? Had they been sending live tweets or, periscoping the events from inside the building? How would that, we talk about Vietnam and the presence of media there, and that is even filtered even a little bit. I mean, even when it's non-filtered, you're only seeing one person. If everyone had a camera at Vietnam, how would that have been different? And so you can see the September 11 resources in those sub-collections, and there is a History Channel collection there too. And if you go down, there's the D-Day. And what we're talking about the anniversary is this is good too, because NBC has these original footage of when it originally happened, but they also have the anniversary. And so when you go in there and look how the news displays it differently. So if we went in, to the Little Rock 9, actually scroll up to JFK. She just added this, look at JFK's assassination, and there was one of them that had an anniversary one. What was it? Let me see.
I know that Little Rock 9, we have the 50 years and the 45 years. But
okay. That's it.
The John F. Kennedy, there was actually a news piece about what would have happened if John F. Kennedy had lived. So that's probably what you're thinking about.
Okay, yeah. So if you look at the Little Rock 9, 50 years later, and so just having the students watch the original and look at those original sources and then watch the anniversary footage and see what they choose to put in. Because they can't choose to they can put everything in, but even those discussions, like what the news decided to put in later and for those anniversaries. So that's kind of how. And Cindy, you have done an amazing job. And these, of course, are all the ones the students are starting with the just kind of getting a handle on, and they can pick whatever moment in history. And if there's not here and they can find it somewhere, they're welcome to pick anything. And then we're going to start archiving. I say Cindy's going to help me, and by that I mean Cindy's going to do it. We're going to do the most recent, I look at those things like Ferguson and what if they hadn't had social media, what if they hadn't been able to tweet and things like that. So that's kind of where we are. We're super excited. There's so many standards here, we can't even list them. It's going to be crazy.
So yes, this is an ongoing, and this is just one example of how we can work together and be able to show all of these resources. So yeah, it's been very great, and thank you so much for sharing with everybody. And that's the beauty of all of this social media.
Awesome.
Just this whole collaboration effort from everybody. It benefits the students, showing this, and it benefits teachers too, because working together, I always come up with better ideas, working with people and building off their ideas to be able to have that. So sharing is caring for sure. Love that. So thank you so much, Katie, for sharing what you have there with our social media project that we're working on. So I just kind of want to take some time. I want to allow a little bit of questions if they haven't been answered. But just briefly, in summary, We have relevant and engaging K-12 resources. We support the Indiana standards. We do have plugins with the various learning management systems as well as the library discovery services. We have those real examples to share through the subscriber spotlight, which is really called NBC Learn in the Classroom. We do work with individual districts, and then follow us. I know, as I keep saying, that, you know, y'all are so great. Indiana educators are so fantastic with social media that you can follow us. You can look on Google+. I actually have built some Google+ communities where we can share resources, and it's, you know, I called Indiana. I made a whole Indiana Google+ community that we can use. And just know that NBC Learn, it has been purchased through Indiana Department of Ed Digital Learning, so we want you to know that you have this resource available. You don't have to pay for it. The state has already done that for you. So please share this with everyone. And then our contact information, so if you have questions, please direct, you know, to Jane Rowe, as you can see here, jane.rowe@NBCUni, or myself, and we are here to help you. And so I wanted to leave some room for questions.
Thank you, Cindy and Katie. Lots of wonderful information, as always. I haven't seen any other questions, and I just put a call out for them. So we'll see if we get any more in. But yes, we do have NBC Learn available to all educators and students in the state of Indiana. So, and just by using that address, indiana.nbclearn.com, will get you into there. And then Cindy talked about the creating an account, which is just a great way. The playlists are extremely helpful and useful. So definitely when you get into NBC Learn, create an account for yourself, which is also free. Just allows you that added options, yes. Okay, well, I'm going to pop back out. Cindy, did you have something?
I have one other thing real quick, or two actually.
Yeah.
At the bottom, I mentioned the accessibility. So we do have this accessibility tab to get information if you need to use it, you know, for students, you know, with dexterity issues. They go through there with, so you can navigate through it. The visual improvements, the assistive technology, and the support for the deaf and hard of hearing, which I showed you, the closed captioning, and the video transcript. The other thing I do like to point out is the contact us, because I kept mentioning, oh, we hear from people and users, and this is where we hear from you, is our contact us tab, which is located at the bottom of every page. So you can just go through here and select, you know, maybe you want another webinar specifically for your school or your content area. We can do that. You can access it through here. You can request information as well as get comments and suggestions. That's how we're continuing to improve, as we listen to the end users. So all of you educators out there, you do have power. You can let us know. And then if you have a technical problem, our tech team is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They get back to you within the hour, and most of the time it is within 10 or 15 minutes. They're absolutely incredible. So I did want to highlight that real quick.
Excellent. Thanks, Cindy. One question that I see from a participant is, if you register for an account on the site, do you get emails from NBC Learn?
No, that would be no. So that is just for your registration purposes, to the ability of being able to create your own playlist and have your own information in that way.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to go back and just show our just some contact information for our office. If anybody is needing to get a hold of us, there are many ways to get to us. Everything that's on here you can link to from our homepage, which is doe.in.gov/elearning. We have, like I said, all of links to all of these different resources and ways to connect with us on that page. and lots of other information. So I see no other questions, so I am going to go ahead and say good night, and a big thank you to Cindy and to Katie and to Jane in the background for answering questions as we went along. And again, if you're not using NBC Learn, I really hope that you start using it now that you're getting excited about it, and that you will also go back to your school and share it with your fellow teachers. So thank you all very much for joining us, and have a wonderful evening.
Great. Well, thank you for having us so much, Mary. I love working with Indiana educators.